All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Paris. It's a pretty big card, 14 fights. Honestly, a lot of good fights. I'm really looking forward to it. We are on a bit of a heater, as is being said over here. Definitely not running around the house, but feels good. Feels good because we were on a bit of the opposite. Weren't doing too great, but I am on a 6-event win streak now. We can run through it real quick. Dana White's Contender Series has been kind to us. 7 weeks done so far. I believe we are 6-1 in events, and I don't know the units profit, but I believe it's like over 6 units profit. I think more than that, like 7 or 8 on just Contender Series. In the last 6 events, we're up almost 18 units, 17.9. Let me go back to the streak. It starts Dana White's Contender Series Week 5, we won 2 units, just about. Bellator, after that, 1.7. Then UFC 306, my guy Marab pulled through. We haven't really recapped that at all. I was there in Georgia watching him fight live. That was one of the best experiences ever. Crazy crowd. Cash the max bet. Got to, clown on the haters a little bit, but not too much. And then Week 6, we did 1.3 units. PFL Mina 3. 0.9, and then was it last night? And then last night, Dana White's Contender Series Week 7, we pulled up with 4.23 units profit, which is a great time. Teague didn't cash. That was unfortunate. I was pretty hype about that bet. I really thought I was onto something, and I wasn't onto anything. Teague died. Vallejos looked amazing. I'm extremely excited about seeing him in the UFC. So that was a bad bet. But my most confident play last night was Frunza. That was the first bet I made. That was the one I felt the best about. I played him at plus 195, and I cashed him. We got my guy Dogfather in the chat right now. Probably, iron sharpens iron. If you guys haven't checked it out already, me and Dogfather are both doing really well, I believe, on this season of the Contender Series. So make sure you guys are tuning in next week for Week 8. Awesome week, a lot of good fighters, and Torres Finney is going to finally get that contract, I believe. And yeah, and then what else did we cash? We cashed Christian round 2. I don't know. I guess I'd probably make the bet again. I kind of that's kind of what I expected, like a meme. I thought probably sub, but a knockout was very possible as well. And Mazzio just gassed. That's what I expected. So I'd probably make that bet again at those odds, even though it was kind of iffy. Teague round 3, obviously that went up in flames. And then, and then Daniil Vavoidkin in the main event, cashing at plus 700 for a quarter unit. That was pretty sweet. I mean, I can't even really pretend that was I can't take that much credit for that, because realistically, I was working with very little tape like everybody else. And I know I'm not the only one who played him. At the end of the day, low to mid-level heavyweights, one of them's plus 700 and is bigger and hits hard. Take a shot. And that's really all that was. But Frunza, that was my main play. That cashed, looked about as I expected it to go, and I'm happy with that. And now we can go into UFC Paris. I already have 3 bets, and let's talk about it. So real quick, catching up with the chat, my guy Pirate over here, he's already in my face because we're head-to-head. MMA Hokage, what's up, my brother? Thank you for tuning in. Good evening to you as well. Evan, indeed, Ukraine is now represented by the 2 GOATs. We've got Voivodkin, and we have Poteria. They're about to make a historical run. Both going to be double champs. It's going to be something. You guys will see. Dog saying we made over 12 units combined last night. That means he made over 8. So Dog's killing it. I know he's killing it. And all right. And yes, Pirate. Actually, no, Pirate. You know who the real GOAT is. He knows what I'm talking about. If you're not in the Discord already, you're missing out. Pull up. It's free. Link in the description. All right. To the fights. First fight up. We've got Bolaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. Oki 9-1-0, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Duncan 11-2-0. He's 31, so he's going to be 3 years older. going to be the same height, and he's going to be at a 1.5-inch reach disadvantage. So I played Duncan pretty quick. I played him at plus 170. I'm high on Oki. I think he has a really high ceiling. I think he has a higher ceiling of the two of them. But I think he's still very, very green. He's a good striker. Output's not quite there, though. I think he can be taken down. I think he can be controlled. Duncan's not a D1 wrestler by any means, but he's plus 170. There's grappling upside, in my opinion. He's fought the better competition. He's been in the UFC for a longer period of time, not just a Kuwamba fight. I love Kuwamba, but he's another guy who's incredibly, incredibly green. And Oki looked good there, but I didn't think he looked amazing. Now, Duncan, there's a chin concern. That's very valid. I understand that. I don't think it's valid enough to go ahead and play Oki at minus 200. I think now he's down to like minus 170. I guess I can understand that. But for me, it's just kind of a step up where I think that Duncan's competitive on the feet. Maybe he's not as clean of a striker, but he also hits hard in his own right. I think he's a solid striker, mostly in the boxing range. And like I said, I think he's got some wrestling upside. So at plus 170, I took a 1-unit shot. Not my favorite bet in the world because, again, I could see Oki knocking him out. But he's fought good strikers before. I know Borshev knocked him out. For some reason, people are really low on Morales, but I think that's a solid win. And I just think that he's going to be able to mix it in here, mix in the grappling, strike with Oki. And I think he can win either a decision, maybe a finish. I think if anything, it's a decision, though. Oki seems very durable to me. And we can move on. Next up, we've got Nora Cornolle versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I still don't know. Cornolle 8-1-0. She's 34 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Jacqueline 7-1-0. She's 27, so she's 7 years younger, going to be 1 inch taller. And she has a 3-inch reach advantage. So I was watching this back, and I feel like the line's probably wide. Not to the point where I want to play it, because I'm not super high on Cornolle. I'm not super high on her cardio. I think she slows down. I'm not high on her output. And I think that Cavalcanti should be able to win the fight. I think she should be able to win by decision. I wouldn't be shocked if she got a late finish, maybe like an attritional kind of thing. I know she hasn't really gotten it yet. I bet on her KO last time. The number was crazy, and it wasn't really close ever. But Nora really slows down. So I really wouldn't be shocked if Cavalcanti is able to add up the damage and eventually get her out of there. But I think she likely probably just wins a decision. The reason I'm not going to bet her or bet her decision prop is because I really do think there's a path for Cornolle. You know, you watch Jacqueline, and she's still relatively green in her career. Her striking's great, but if you put her on her back foot, things kind of change. She goes from being able to move laterally really well. If you start backing her up, cutting the cage just a little bit, she starts going flat-footed, and that's when she starts to struggle. She's not as clean then. If she can't maintain the range, if she can't hand fight, if she can't lead with the jab, then she starts to really struggle. And Cornolle she's a strong physical woman who hits really hard. She does have good forward pressure, and she has good leg kicks too. And if she uses those leg kicks early, backs up Cavalcanti, I think that she can make this a very competitive fight. I think maybe she can get it finished because she does hit really hard. I don't necessarily think she's going to knock out Jacqueline, but I think that she could win minutes as well, win moments by landing bigger shots, back her up, chew up the legs because Nora hits really hard with the leg kicks. Her kicks in general are pretty good, but she like throws herself completely off balance, which is not the best thing ever. I feel like Jacqueline's going to be able to land counters. She's really clean down the pipe. I like her striking a lot, and she's still young. Like I said, still relatively green, and I think she's going to be really, really good. I think she's got a really high ceiling, but just not a spot I want to lay chalk on when I do think there's a path for Cornolle, not to the point where I want to play her as a dog, but I'm just going to pass on this one. And yeah, probably just going to leave it alone unless something crazy happens with the lines. Moving on, we've got Daniel Barez versus Victor Altamirano. Barez is 16-6-0, 35 years old, which is not what I expected when I looked at his age. I thought he was like 20-something, but no, he's 35. 5'6" with the 66-inch reach. On the other side, Altamirano, 12-4-0. He's 33, 2 years younger. Going to be the same. No, he's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. Weird fight. When I saw the line, I thought I'd be on Barez just because he's a better striker. Like, I think he's a much better striker. Makes his targets really well. I love how he goes to the body. I think he hits a lot harder. I think he has all the finishing upside, at least standing, but also with the subs. You know, he's got a pretty good submission grappling game. His wrestling is pretty solid. It was taking down Carlos Hernandez constantly. I think he took him down like 5 times. Takedown defense isn't the best, though. He could be controlled. And I don't know how I feel about his cardio. I feel like he slows down and just kind of feels tough to trust him. And against Altamirano is just the kind of guy to pull it off. Like he can pull. He's got such an awkward style, and I watch him and I'm like, is he even that great? But he does what he needs to do to win fights. He's got an awkward striking style. He's able to stay competitive with most guys. I do think he's pretty hittable, and I think if Barez is backing him up, he's going to give him some problems. But Altamirano is pretty good at staying relatively safe. He'll mix in takedowns. He's got good wrestling. Not phenomenal, and he doesn't do a ton with it, but he could grapple. And if Barez does get tired, I wouldn't be shocked if he was able to lock in a sub, like a rear naked or something. Because Barez, I just get really sus vibes from him. I think that's what it is for me. I'm just sussed out by him. If he becomes a bigger dog, like plus 145-ish, then I could get behind him because, again, I think he's a better striker. And if the cardio holds up, I think he should look great here. And as long as the takedown defense holds up. But at plus 105, I have a really iffy feeling about it. Don't have a good feel about it. So I'll lean Barez, dog or pass for sure. I don't want to bet Altamirano here at chalk. Definitely don't want to do that. When, again, I think Barez could finish him. I think Barez could land really big shots and win moments and minutes. So I won't bet Altamirano. Probably won't bet Barez either. Probably just going to pass, but I lean on the Barez side if I was to make a play. I do have a play here. Next up, we have Ailin Perez versus Darya Zheleznyakova. Perez 10-2-0. She's 29 years old, 5'5" with a 66-inch reach. Darya 9-1-0. She's going to be 28, so she's 1 year younger, going to be 4 inches taller, and I believe she has a 2-inch reach advantage. And yeah, I don't know what Perez does well. I don't think she does anything particularly well. Like, her strength is her wrestling, her offensive wrestling, but it's not good. Like, anybody with any even semblance of a wrestling background can tell you, like, she's not a great wrestler. It's just she's physical. She's insanely physical, so she's able to get takedowns on women who aren't as strong. But is it really that impressive? Like, Jocelyn Edwards is a decent win, but she's not a physical lady. Like, you can take her down. And before that, Ashley Evans-Smith, I mean, that win means nothing to me. Lucy Pudilova, also not a physical lady whatsoever. And if she doesn't have that, what does she have? Her striking is terrible, absolutely horrible. I have nothing good to say about her striking. The wrestling is, like I said, and the striking defense is awful. The cardio is awful. So there's really not much to be high on. And the only reason the line's the way it is, in my opinion, is because Darya got taken down, I guess, in the Rendon fight, and she got taken down in the Dixon fight and finished quickly. And people are probably thinking, well, Perez could do that. Have we seen Perez's ground and pound? It's like she's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. She's not really hitting them. She's just kind of moving. And like, what is she going to do? She's going to take down Darya, and you think she's going to do what Dixon did? I don't really think so. Both Dixon and Rendon are also both very big, 5'8". They're not small ladies. Perez, she's pretty small. She's physical, but she's small. And I don't think she's going to have an easy time taking down Darya, who I think has pretty good takedown defense. And on the feet, I don't even think it's close. I think Darya smokes her on the feet. I think she's a way better striker. She hits way harder. She's much cleaner. Her cardio is nothing to write home about, but it's definitely better than Perez's, because Perez gasses every single time. In the third round, she's a mess. And even before that, she's a mess. Even when she gets the takedowns, does she have good control? No. How many times did Edwards reverse position and end up on top? She got 6 takedowns in the Edwards fight, and there was like 1 minute difference in the control time, maybe even less. I think Perez got like 5 minutes and something, and Edwards got 4 minutes and something in control time. I think that Darya should be able to compete. I mean, should be able to keep it on the feet. If she gets taken down, I think she can get back up. She's quick to try to get back up to her feet, maybe even reverse position, even though scrambling is not really something she's known for. But standing, not even close. And I think we're going to be standing for a lot of the fight. I think she can finish Perez. I think she can win a decision. I think the under makes sense if you don't want to pick a side, because if you think Perez is going to win and you think the line's warranted, I have to think you're expecting her to get takedowns and possibly get a finish with ground and pound. Maybe you think what she can do what Dixon did. But then you're also covered if Darya knocks her out or finishes her late. And it's like plus 250, I think. So I think the under makes sense as well. I just played the money line for Darya, plus 205 for 2 units today on Bet Rivers. I feel really good about it. Maybe I end up looking like an idiot, but I think the disparity in the striking is much wider than any other disparity in this fight. And I think Darya's going to take advantage. I really think she can finish her, and if not, decision will work too. But let's see what we're working with in the chat. Lights out on no one's home for Altamirano. Barez cracks indeed. Stefferson's showing some Darya love. Nicknames Fiona. Okay, we're not going to do that. Think Darya can KO her. I agree. I do think she can knock her out. You have to consider you're capping the possibility that Rendon is a wrestling god. Yeah, she's not a wrestling god, but she's huge. Rendon is a giant, and Perez is not a giant whatsoever. And I'd honestly say Rendon's probably as good of a wrestler as Perez, maybe even a little better. I don't like Perez's wrestling. She's just strong. Nobody gasses like my goat, Kutsi. Had a good read there. I already said that one. Those are some. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Mike back from performing international relations. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but yes, I am back from Georgia. All right. So yeah, Darya Zheleznyakova is the pick. We can move on. Next up, we've got one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, which is weird because I don't think a lot of people agree there, but Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. Lapilus 24-0, 32 years old. He's 5'6" with a 73-inch reach. Morales 16-7-0. He's 33. So he's just about 1 year older, 1 inch taller, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Morales coming back to the UFC now after a brief stint out of the promotion. He was at Risen, had some success, subbed Hunter Azure recently, and he's been looking pretty good. I got to give him credit where credit's due, and I can get an argument if you're going on the Morales side. You're thinking Lapilus tends to fight close, and it's true, but dude I think he's elite. I think he's just an elite fighter. I think he's so good. I'm glad he's finally in the UFC and he's doing his thing. And I just think he should have Morales covered everywhere. Morales probably has like the better jiu-jitsu, I guess, but do I expect him to be taking down Lapilus, who has really good takedown defense? No, I don't. I think if anything, Lapilus can get his own takedowns as well. And on the feet, I think Lapilus is a much cleaner striker, and I think he should be able to stay safe. I think he has good defense. I think he should be able to pick apart Morales. And it's really, for me, it's that simple. I mean, am I going to go parlay Lapilus at minus 300? No, because I'm not doing well with parlays and I don't want to eat into my profits, but I do think he's probably a safe parlay piece. Lapilus by decision makes sense. I mean, they have it chalked to hell. It's like minus 150, minus 170, I think I saw. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to play it anyways, just because to me, it's one of those spots where I feel like it's just going to win. I mean, I think Lapilus wins the fight. I think the line's about accurate. I think that the over makes sense. And that's also what, like minus 300. So that would lead me to say that decision is probably like Lapilus decision minus 175 probably makes sense. So something lower than that is probably a decent play. It feels gross. That's the only reason I haven't done it yet. It just feels wrong. But I think Lapilus is going to win a decision here, and we can move on. Won't spend a ton of time on this one. Next up, we got Ludovit Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. Klein, 22-4-1, 29 years old, 5'7" with a 72-inch reach. Roberts, 12-4-0. He's going to be 30, so he's just about 1 year older. Going to be 5 inches taller, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. I've never been high on Roberts. You can know that because I bet Kevin Kroom against him, and cashed, by the way. I cashed Kevin Kroom against him. I think it was like plus 300 or something like that. And yeah, I just don't really know where he's going to beat Klein. Like, he's a pretty decent grappler, but do I expect him to take down Klein and sub him or something? No, I don't. Do I think he's going to take down Klein and control him for 15 minutes? No, I don't. Do I think he can compete with Klein in the striking? No, I definitely don't. So I think that Klein should be able to finish him. I think if he doesn't finish him, go in a decision. He hits really hard. He's a super clean striker. He's still young and improving. I think he's got a super high ceiling. He can wrestle if he needs to. I don't think he's going to need to wrestle here. I think he can strike with him, keep it on the feet, find the finish. If not, win your decision. And yeah, I mean, he's minus 1,100. So really, what can you do with it? You could maybe play Klein KO, but it's like minus 140. Another spot where it's like, yeah, it probably hits, but it feels gross. And I got a similar line against AJ Cunningham. So I feel like Roberts is probably better than him and probably a little less chinny than him. So I don't know if Klein's going to put him out easy, like, because I thought that one was going to be easy, and it was, and that was minus 110. So now I'm paying more against a better opponent. Not really a bet that I'm going to rush to make, but not going to waste much time on this fight either because I don't really see a viable path for Roberts. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. This line's going to blow out. I'm going to end up with money on Morales. Yeah, can't blame anybody, but oh, come on. I guess this was about to happen. Well, we got a couch warrior impersonator now. That's a thing, I guess. You know you made it once you get fakers, huh? But all right, moving on. We've got Oumar C versus Dawoon Jung. C 10-0 undefeated. He's 28 years old, 6'4" with an 83-inch reach. Jung 15-5-1. He's 30, so he's 2 years older, going to be the same height, and he's going to be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage. Full disclosure, I didn't tape this one much yet. I've been in a rush, barely got to tape most of these fights, and this one I just wasn't dying to tape. I feel like it's kind of a layup for C. He's a great prospect, Frenchman fighting in France. I think that he's probably better everywhere. Maybe in the striking, he's not. I'd have to look at it a little bit more. Jung's a good boxer. Like, I'm not going to pretend he's not a good boxer. Not going to pretend he's not a good fighter either. He can wrestle. He can strike. He's got power. He hits real hard. Probably shouldn't be plus 400 against C, who just got to the UFC. But I think the line probably makes sense. C's a great grappler, good wrestling, good jits. And we just watched Jung get submitted by Carlos Olberg, who's a great fighter, but he's a striker. He's a kickboxer and got that rear naked. So, yeah, the square in me saying C sub plus 130 makes sense. I was honestly looking at the under 1.5. I was kind of surprised that that's plus money because C's finishing most of his fights in the first. I mean, it makes sense, right? Dude's huge, great grappler, hits hard. And Jung was also finishing a lot of fights in the first because he also hits really hard. And while I don't necessarily think he's going to knock out C, it's a possibility. And the under 1.5 is, I think I saw plus 130. So I'm getting the under 1.5 in a light heavyweight fight at plus money. Two guys who hit hard. One guy who can probably get a sub at any point in the fight. And it's plus money. But if you know me, you know I hate under 1.5s. They make me anxious. I don't like having to cheer for the fight to end within the first 7.5 minutes because whenever I do, it doesn't. So they're really not my thing. But at the same time, I kind of feel like this one makes a lot of sense. Pirate over here saying don't play the sub couch KOs live. Yeah, I get it. It makes sense. If I did anything, it's probably going to be the under 1.5. Maybe just be a chalk donkey and play the decision. I mean, the finish. I think the finish is like minus 170. I saw minus 160. I feel like that's not bad. I think he's going to finish Jung. It could go to a decision, but I feel like that's pretty unlikely. I think he's going to finish him. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 210. That's a decent parlay piece if that's your thing. I'm kind of over parlays, but not a bad one in my opinion. I'm going to have to tape this one more. Make sure you're in the Discord. That's where you'll get my notes, my breakdowns, my bets, and all that good stuff. And you can talk fights with us. So I'll upload the bets, the notes and the breakdown once I fully look into the fight. But that's the way I'm thinking right now. Lean the under 1.5 if I had to play something. Probably going to pass. We'll see. All right. I do have a bet here. Next up, we've got Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. Cutelaba 17-10-1. He's 30 years old, 6'1" at the 75-inch reach. Erslan 14-3-0. He's 32. He's going to be 2 years older, going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have about the same reach. So I usually love Cutelaba. I've lost a lot of money on him, and he's made me some money. I mostly like him because he knocked out Tanner Boser, but I felt like Erslan shouldn't be the underdog here. I know he's making his UFC debut, but I feel like he kind of has Cutelaba. Like, I don't want to say covered because Cutelaba is a better wrestler than him. If he can get the takedowns and not get exhausted, that's going to be a path. And Cutelaba hits like a train, so he can knock out Erslan, who has been knocked out, who has been hurt, and maybe doesn't necessarily have the best defense in the world, but he at least tries to cover up. He has better defense than Cutelaba, that's for sure. That said, Erslan's got pretty good takedown defense. I think it's pretty impressive watching him. Good underhooks, good hand control. He's quick with it, good hips. He's a good striker. I think he's a better striker, the cleaner striker, the two of them. He hits hard. He uses that jab to set up the combos. And he has a better gas tank than Cutelaba, which is pretty much all you really need to beat him. So, way I see it, Cutelaba is going to be live early, like he is every single time. But I think Erslan can stay safe, keep it on the feet. I think he can outstrike Cutelaba if it goes to a decision. I think that he can knock him out in the second or third round. The props are kind of crap, but I think those make sense as well. If you wanted to play some props, round 2, round 3, Erslan does make a lot of sense, especially if Cutelaba starts grappling, because he's good at it, but it exhausts him, and then he becomes a mess. And he also just fights like a moron. So I'm definitely not betting him. Definitely not betting him at chalk ever again, because I've done it. But Erslan, I liked Erslan at plus money. I played him at plus 104. I put a unit on him, called it a day, and I like it. It's not my most confident play ever, because it is that's kind of what I was debating in my notes. Is I don't even necessarily think this is a step up. He was fighting some pretty good comp in KSW. Like, he fought for the title. He fought my guy Heretic. He's been fighting good guys, and the guy he knocked out last is pretty good. I forget his name, Bogdan something, Gnitko. So I don't even necessarily know if I want to call it a step up. It's like a step up in that he's coming in to the bright lights of the UFC and a really big card in UFC Paris. So that's a step up. And Cutelaba's been there, done that. But in terms of just competition, I feel like Cutelaba's probably on par with what he's seen before. So I don't think it's something crazy. So yeah, Erslan for me, money line. I think round 2, round 3 makes sense too. And we can move on. Herb Dean, appreciate you. And yeah, me too. Unfortunately, I am. Moving on, we got my next bet. We have Ziam versus Matt Frevola. Ziam 15-4-0, 27 years old, 6'1" at the 75-inch reach. Frevola 11-4-1. He's going to be 34, so he's 7 years older, going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. I know a lot of sharp fellas on Ziam. My guy Dogfather's on him. Sorry, Dog, if you didn't want that known, but he's been posting it everywhere. So I get it, but I like Frevola here. I played him at minus 120, got my reverse CLV. So if you're a long-time listener, you know, if we get CLV, we get nervous. If we get reverse CLV, we feel a little bit better. It's just how it is. I don't make the rules. It's the card I got dealt. But look, the way I see it, first off, God bless the French community, because they're jinxing the hell out of Ziam. They are posting memes, and I saw the guy who literally was begging Frevola for an interview, and then now he's posting Ziam memes that he's going to knock him out and whatnot. How pathetic is that, huh? But yeah, so first off, thank you to the French fans. They're jinxing Ziam, and if you know me, you know I believe in jinx. I knock on wood all the time when I say something, so that's good. But in terms of the actual fight, look, Ziam's really clean. He's a clean striker. He's a young dude still, 27, young, literally my age, but young in terms of fighting. 27, still improving, fight to fight. We see him getting better and better. He's a great fighter. He's a clean striker, but he doesn't have much power. Doesn't have a ton of finishing instinct. Fight IQ is kind of questionable. Takedown defense still hasn't gotten that good. Get-ups aren't that great. And he just tends to fight relatively close. And with Matt, I know he's going to fight for my money. That's a guarantee. I know that he hits harder than Ziam. If someone gets a knockout, I personally think it's going to be Frevola. I know that his chin's been cracked. I get it. But I really don't think Ziam's going to be the one to crack it again and knock him out. I just don't expect that from him. And I think that Frevola's got the wrestling upside as well. I mean, people forget, but he does wrestle. He doesn't just stand and bang all the time. And I think his wrestling is great. I think he's got solid control. I wish he would do a little bit more with it, but he does try to at least land ground and pound. You don't see him just laying on guys. Worst case scenario, I expect him to at least be getting cage control time. And yeah, I just like him here. Ziam needs a clean fight to really show off, and he's not going to get a clean fight against Frevola. He's going to either have to knock him out, or that's going to be it, because good luck getting him off of you. Frevola's going to be in his face, backing him up, not giving him the space he needs to work, and mixing in the takedowns when he needs to, if he needs to. So yeah, I'm on Frevola at minus 120. I'm honestly considering adding at plus 110 because I thought he was the rightful favorite. I thought he could have been a bit of a wider favorite, hence why I played the line where I did. And now he's an underdog. So I might add one more unit because I feel pretty good here. It's possible. It's entirely possible that Ziam could maybe keep the range and look fantastic. But I think that's where he's going to really struggle. And I think that's what he really needs to be able to have the fight that he wants and that he's going to need to win the fight and cover a favorite line, especially. So, yeah, for me, it's Frevola here. And we can move on. Let's catch up with the chat, though. Let's see. Couch reverse COV combined with Jacob's lock of the week. How could it lose? Oh, did he also play for Vola? I don't really know much about it. Are his locks of the week good? Does he usually hit those? Let's see what else we got. Lifeguard. What's good, Lifeguard? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Dogfather saying plus 100 Ziam. Yeah, I totally understand it. And he's got that really cool picture he's been posting too. He did mention in interviews he was looking to wrestle. Frevola did. I mean, that would be great. I mentioned Ziam's bad fight IQ. Frevola's got some pretty poor fight IQ too, being completely honest. But I do think he's going to wrestle here, interview or not. I tend not to listen to the interviews, but Dogfather, is it a changing of the guard play? Let's see what Doc says. Not really. Frevola hasn't been out of round 1 in 3.5 years. Feel like regression's doing. Yeah, but you don't really have any reason to believe that. He hasn't done it, but it doesn't mean he can't. And he was never an issue before. I don't really see any reason that to believe that's the case. Pirate Jacob's lock of the week are amazing. He's an Irish. I know who he is, dummy. All right, we can move on. Next up, we've got Morgan Charriere versus Gabriel Miranda. Morgan's going to be 19, 10, and 1, 28 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Miranda, 17, 6 and 0. He's 34, 5'11", so he's 3 inches taller, 6 years older, and he's gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage. Charriere is so much better than his record shows. I mean, 10 losses. It looks bad. I get it, but they're almost all to really good guys, except like the early losses he has in his career. Those whatever that was like really, really long ago. Since then, he's only losing to the best, and God bless Miranda. He's not the best. Look, the line's pretty crazy. I'm definitely not getting involved on a money line side for either fella. I'm not going to lay minus 800 on Morgan against the guy in Miranda who I think is very dangerous. And I'm not really excited to play Miranda when, for me, he's probably sub or bust. I mean, he hits relatively hard too. I mean, he hurt, what's his face? Benoit Saint-Denis hurt him for a second there. I think if he wins, it's a club and sub because his jiu-jitsu is really good, very fast, very opportunistic, and very high level. But the wrestling is just fine. Like the wrestling's decent, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to take down Morgan. So if he's going to get to that sub position, in my mind, either Morgan's got to bring it to the ground, which he could, but I don't really see why he would, or Miranda needs to hurt Morgan, club him, and then sub him, which I think is a possibility. I think you can't really go wrong with Miranda round 1 sub. I saw it at like plus 2,400 on Bet Rivers. I think you can't really go wrong with Miranda round 1 at plus 1,600 because, I mean, if I'm saying in my mind that one of the only ways he's going to get a sub is club and sub, there's a possibility it ends at just the club part, right? So maybe you just play that round 1 at plus 1,600. Maybe you get something a little bit better than that on a different book. I think that's a decent spot. I mean, Charriere round 2, round 3, those are obvious, but the odds are abysmal. Round 2 is like plus 225. Round 3, I saw like plus 700 or 800. You can't really do anything with that. I thought about Morgan round 3 decision because I don't necessarily think he's going to get Miranda out of there in the first round. And we've seen Miranda hang around with some pretty decent competition. Made it to a decision with Ahmed Magomedov, I think is his name, over in Bellator now. Good fighter. And I wouldn't be shocked if this extended, I wouldn't be shocked if this went into the third round or if this even went to the scorecards. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. So I thought about that round 3 decision prop, but it's plus 130. I thought I'd get something better than that. I feel like at that point, I'm just forcing a play because he can definitely get him out of there in the second round. He could probably get him out of there in the first. Morgan hits pretty hard and he's a good striker. So yeah, I don't really see a super viable path for Miranda outside of what I said before because Can he compete over in a prolonged fight here? Like, what is he going to do? Is he going to strike with Morgan for 3 rounds? His striking's not good enough. It's not, he doesn't really have a competent striking game. He's got good front kicks. The hands are decent, but it's nothing special. And then after the second, even if he doesn't gas, I just don't really know what's going to be working for him unless he's able to get the takedowns more than I expect. That's possible. He's a really big physical guy. And like I said, his grappling's not bad. And Morgan can be taken down. We've seen it before. It's usually by better competition, but it's happened. I just think his takedown defense is pretty good, and I think he should be able to keep it on the feet. So, I mean, I won't spend any more time on a minus 800 breakdown. Morgan's a pick. I'm not seeing anything super standing out to me outside of maybe, like I said, Miranda round 1 for a sprinkle. We can move on, though. Let's see what we got here. Jacob's on a great streak of picking dogs, so he's due for an L. Well, if he's on Frevola, I'd rather that the L is not now. Let's see. Dog, this is back on the Frevola thing. 34 is kind of old for a chinny guy at lightweight. Yeah, I guess. But, I mean, for a chinny guy, he's held up pretty well recently, hasn't he? Gabriel, Miranda, and high level are not where they're normally found. Yeah, he's not a super high level guy, but he's a high level grappler. I think you can say that. All right. Moving on, we've got Kevin Jousset versus Bryan Battle. Jousset 10-2-0. He's 31 years old, going to be 6'2" with the 75-inch reach. Battle 10-2-0. He's 30. He's 1 year younger, going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 2-inch reach advantage. If you know me, you know that aura used to be a word that I really didn't like, but I've come around. I've come around. I get the aura argument, and Battle's got aura. I'll give it to him. He's definitely got some aura. So a little nervous to fade him, but I am thinking about it here with Jousset. I just feel like the line's kind of wide. I don't know. I've been back and forth. I think Battle is the rightful favorite. He's got most of the finishing upside in this fight, in my opinion. I think he's more likely to get either a knockout. I don't think he's going to sub Jousset. I'd be pretty surprised, but I think he's the one who's more live for a knockout if it comes. And we have seen with Jousset, I mean, even against, what's his face? The guy who's not any good. Kiefer Crosby against Sonkin, who's just flat-footed the entire fight. If you can get up close with Jousset, if you can get into boxing range, like he's nothing special, and you can beat him. And even pre-UFC, Crazy Horse, I forget his actual name, but Crazy Horse, he's the guy who beat Jousset last, and that's kind of what he did. Like if you can crash the pocket, if you can back him up, he's nothing special. He's a good striker. He's very clean, but he's very technical, and he needs the space. And he'll lead with the jab. He's got a really good jab, and he's got a good output. But if you take that away from him, if you just get up close, he's really nothing special. And Battle will do that. Battle is very aggressive. Battle is in your face. Battle hits really hard. I think their striking styles are both very similar. They both have good hands, both have really good kicks. They use those kicks to maintain the range. Battle will kind of use the teep like a jab, and he'll just go to the body over and over again. So I think Battle's got a clear way to win this fight. And I mean, he's a favorite. And like I said, I think he's the rightful favorite. But that said, I think he kind of slows down. And if he doesn't find the finish here, I don't really see where he stands out against Jousset. Because again, Jousset is also a really good striker, great kickboxer. He's got good leg kicks, good kicks in general. The hands, I think, are cleaner than Battle's. I think he has a better jab than Battle, and I think he uses it better. And if Battle doesn't get that finish early or in the second, I don't see how this doesn't look like a very close fight. Battle is scary early, but he slows down, even in the fights where like he's having a ton of success. Even against Lusa, he was slowing down a little bit. He wasn't as aggressive. And that was what? That was still only the first round. I don't think his cardio is bad by any means, but I think he'll slow. And Jousset, his cardio is held up. His cardio looks pretty good. He hasn't really had a fight that was super chaotic. I mean, the Kiefer Crosby fight was pretty chaotic, I'd say. But he seems to hold up pretty well. The Crazy Horse fight was chaotic, and he lost that one. But it was a relatively close fight. Yeah, I'm tempted. I'm tempted on Jousset. I want a better line. It's plus 140 now. I would want something like plus 170 if I'm going to fade Battle, because I've tried it before, and it doesn't go well for me. I think that he's been difficult for me, at least, to get a read on, because I would think that he's not that great, and then he's getting better and better, more aggressive. He's really got filled in. He's more in shape than he was before. Pretty ripped now. And it's just a little scary to fade him, but I could get there because if Jousset can survive the early flurries and get behind that jab, keep the range at least enough where you're a bit more comfortable, I think it's a really winnable fight for him. I don't really know who has the offensive grappling edge here. Like, Battle's not really much of a wrestler. He'll take the back if he can get there, and he's got a good rear naked. He's got a good back take, but he's not really much of a grappler offensively. Jousset's got the judo background, but you don't really see him going for singles or doubles. And are trips really going to work on Battle? They might work on him, but I don't think they'll work with the super high success rate. So I'll lean Jousset in terms of grappling. I'll lean him in terms of just cleaner striking. I'll give Battle aggressiveness, power, finishing upside. And I guess I give Jousset cardio. So yeah, for me, this is a dog or pass spot. I'm probably going to get to him if the line keeps going the way I think it will. I think people will keep playing Battle. Everyone likes the guy. Can't blame him. He's a really fun and exciting fighter. And I'm not hyped to fade him because he's good. He's good. And especially recently, he's been a scary fella. But the line's getting a little bit out of hand, in my opinion. Let's see what we're working with here now in the chat. Dogfather. You know, should I just get Dogfather up here at this point? Because we're just throwing dog questions. Dog, hop in my DMs. I'll send you a link if you want to hop on. I'm not even joking. At this point, might as well. Here, I'll send him a link since you guys like Dogfather so much. All right, let's see if he shows up or if he's too scared. Not fading the Bryan Battle aura. Can't blame you. Can't blame you. That's the same issue I'm having. Because now I believe in the aura. If you wanted to battle, you're too late. The line was way. Yeah, I don't want to bet him at this line. I definitely don't. Because if you're betting it to me, it feels like you're betting on a finish. And I don't know if he's going to finish Jousset. And if he doesn't, I don't think he covers that price tag, even in a win. I love France, but I don't know if the travel will mess with the battle aura. Yeah, I've never done a study on traveling in aura, but Diego Lopez is all over the place and his aura stays intact, so should be okay. He won't slow down. Kevin's main striking is a jab lead hook. That's not going to work against a longer striker. Yeah, but does Battle even keep the range that much? He's the one always moving forward, crashing the pocket. Looking for the knees. I don't necessarily think the Battle is going to try to keep the distance. Like, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call him a longer striker. Jousset is the one who strikes long, in my opinion. Battle does have a big weight cut, so you never know. Hey, what's good, Dogfather?
Wait, I have my thing on the wrong setting, so I'm going to be. Hold up. I'm going to be. It's not going to turn sideways. Is this fine? Is this fine?
No, dude. Whatever that thing is that you just put us under, is that your monitor?
Yeah.
Most of your screen was the monitor.
Okay. What?
What's good, bro?
What's up?
The people wanted you here, so now you're here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Nice to know that I'm wanted. Like, yeah. Unlike that one guy who doesn't like me.
I was going to say, everybody likes you except the guy who said you ramble.
I don't know what I did to hurt his feelings.
You rambled, obviously.
What did I ramble about?
I don't know. I'm the one who rambles, not you. Okay, let's see what we got going on here.
Hello.
Put on your glasses, dog.
I can't see shit. No, I'm not putting my glasses on.
Bro, just wake up from it. That's what it looks like.
I did.
Dog woke up to a StreamYard link. Didn't even know what he was pressing on. He just pressed on it and pulled up.
I just literally replied with what?
But all right, what do you think of this fight, bro?
I don't want to fade Battle. So that's what it comes down to. Like I know that I kind of actually line Jousset, like pick 'em. Like I think this is like a pick 'em fight, but I just don't want to fade Battle, so I'm passing. I think overs and GTD are good. I think both guys are mega durable. Like JDM was beating the brakes off of Jousset, and this was before he went to CKB, and looks like he improved or got on some juice. So yeah, I think overs are good. I mean, they should hit. They're like -200, but I think they're still good. Yeah, not much to say on this one. I feel like Jousset's decided the line, but I'm not going to play it. So pass fight for me.
Yeah, feel you. I'll probably pass unless I get like Jousset plus 170, 80-ish.
Yeah, I don't even think I'll play that. I went into it thinking I was going to really like Jousset, and I do, but just something about battle, I just don't want to fade.
Aura. It's the aura.
He's just getting a lot better, dude.
He is getting better, but I just don't know if he can keep it up over 3 rounds. Like, is he going to look like the way he's been looking after like 7.5 minutes?
Well, and some resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Renato fight was on short notice, but if you've noticed, like in these fights, he's kind of just been rolling through these hoes. And if he gets resistance, yeah, he might not look the same.
Yep, I'm with you there. But all right, moving on. We've got William Gomis versus Joanderson Brito. Gomis 13-2-0, 27, 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach. Brito 17-3-1, 29. He's 2 years older, 4 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. What are you on here, dog?
Overs and GTD. Yeah, Brito's been kind of high rolling some finishes, man. This over 2.5 opened up at -270 to the over. So to me, that's essential. To me, the overs in the GTD, it's just fading Brito finish props. And when you give me that price, when I think Brito's finishing abilities kind of overvalued because like of a calf kick cut stoppage and knocking out Chinny Andre Feely and subbing GSP when he sticks his neck out and everything. I just think it's a great spot to kind of, fade Brito's ITD line when he's at like a market high price, I think historically. This dude was plus 200 to Andre Feely. This dude was pick'em to Bill Algeo. I know he lost that fight, but he didn't lose that fight in my opinion. And a guy that at the end of the day he beat Diego Lopes on Contender Series, Diego was on short notice, and he kind of broke Diego. So, I mean, this guy's really good. And Gomis is like the elite weasel of all time. And so when you kind of put those two things together, I capped the over like -150. I capped the GTE like -150. Because I just think Brito's ITD is super overpriced. Is how we get to the over. At like -1. I got some -120 on the over, but I had to hit up somebody to get down for me at -120 because the line started moving that direction. But I was happy enough to get like -102 on FanDuel on the GTD. I still think it's good. I think it'll be good till 150. I think it should be like 60%. So I have the over at -120 to win 0.75 units, and I have the GTD to win 1.5. So I have a pretty big stake on the fight to pretty much go the distance. I think it's mispriced.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me.
I think and it comes down to, as I think the money line's mispriced, right? And if I think the money line's mispriced, with the style that Gomis fights, the over has to be value.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. For me, I'm thinking about the overs and I'm thinking about Gomis money line, but I don't want to play his money line. I hate his style. I can't say he's not good, but I just don't like the way he fights. Low output. He can grapple when he needs to. Good takedown defense of his own. He's a good striker. Just the output's kind of crap. No real urgency on him. I'm not super high on him, but I think he can maybe beat Brito. Like, if he keeps the range, I think he can strike with him. He's competitive. I think at range, he's probably better. And he could probably get some takedowns. Brito tires out a little bit, but
who's going to get takedowns?
I think Gomi can get a takedown.
What?
Why not?
I don't think so.
You don't think he can get one if he tried?
I mean, his wrestling's not very good. It's just like body lock style takedowns. I just don't know. I think Brito's going to be too strong for him, even if it's late.
I mean, if he does keep it up on the feet the entire time, you're not worried Brito will finish him?
No. I mean, he might, but I just don't think it happens at a high clip. I mean, I've seen Gomis rock before, but he seems really durable though. Like I've seen him rock, but never like put out. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Gomis got rocked here, like with a big right hand. But outside of that, maybe like a back take, I don't really see it finishing.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of a back take also. Probably the Marshall fight is why.
Yeah, that's exactly why. But I haven't seen like a ton. I mean, there's enough to on tape to figure that Brito could easily take his back if he wanted to, just because Gomis gets his back up when he gets up. And his jiu-jitsu defense, his submission defense is suspect. Obviously from the Marshall fight, but people forget about the Jarno fight.
My boy.
Where he was in a deep ass triangle for like what felt like 2 minutes. So yeah. Yeah, weird. I mean, but still, right? It's like he was in those positions and didn't get submitted, which is like bullish for betting the over as well.
Yeah, but Jarno also showed he's kind of a white belt last time out.
He submitted some decent guys on the regional, but yeah, he's not. His submission defense is bad, but Jarno's submission offense isn't half bad.
That's what I always felt like also. But what do you think of this? What would you two line over half a takedown for Brito?
Evens.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to get one.
Yeah. I'd probably line it evens, yeah. Or minus 150 to the over.
Takedowns for Gomi. Well, Dog doesn't think he'll get any. I feel like he can get one.
I'd line it like 25% he gets a takedown.
I'd probably play that then.
Plus 300. I feel like it'd be like plus 300.
Minus 200 over a half for Brito, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't shock me. I think minus 150 is fine, actually. Pick him seems a little short.
Yeah, if I do anything here, it'll probably be the overs.
Yeah, if you wanna cook your DraftKings account, speed run it. Just go and bet those takedown props.
We don't get those here in New. Actually, we do now. We do. I just forget to pay attention to them.
Well, if you have a nice DraftKings account, you're perfectly fine to bet them. Just don't put too much on them or wait. But
yeah, I don't think I'm getting limited anytime soon, but that would suck.
Yeah, it's awful.
First time in my life last week, I couldn't put down a full unit, and that turned out good.
On what?
Vallejos Teague fight goes. Remember, it was a $50 limit.
Oh yeah, because of Bet Online being stupid. Yeah,
and I'm glad because then I changed my mind and didn't like it and didn't play it and only lost to 6.6 units rather than 1.6.
Yeah, it was funny that the fight doesn't go looked free low.
Vallejos looked free too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on. I know you've got a bet here. We got Nasruddin Imavov versus Brendan Allen. Imavov 14-4-0, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. Allen 24-5-0, going to be the same age, 1 inch shorter, same reach. I'll start us off here real quick because I want to look at this one more. I need to really look into Imavov's takedown defense because he's been taken down a bunch by guys who aren't wrestlers. And Allen, I've always been really high on his grappling. I've always been really high on his wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, and then the striking's come a long way. I know a lot of us have our issues with Allen's decision-making sometimes. He'll strike when he doesn't need to, kind of fall in love with the hands. And, it makes sense. He's become a pretty good striker. He's going to be competitive with the top-level guys, and he's got the grappling. So I'm still very high on Allen, but I don't know. I'm not like super running to the window to bet this just because I kind of think that Imavov does have pretty solid takedown defense. That's what I want to look at more, but I do think it's pretty solid. I think once he gets taken down, he might struggle. Allen's got a slick back take. He has good control because of that jiu-jitsu. So once he gets down to the mat, it might be easier for him, and I guess that's why it doesn't make sense to make the play on him. But in the striking, I favor Imavov a lot. Just watching Allen, even though he's gotten a lot better, I just think he's going to struggle. Imavov's good at maintaining the range, working off the jab, good kicks, good striking all around, powerful. I think he probably chin Allen, seen chin concerns with him more than once. I don't think he's going to. I don't really think he's going to knock him out, but I think it's a possibility if they stay standing the whole fight. So, yeah, I need to look at it more. You're getting plus 180 on a guy who's still rapidly improving. We'll probably be competitive in the striking, and we'll have a big grappling upside if he can get it to the mat. So yeah, maybe I'll get to Alan. I need to look at it more. How about you, dog?
Yeah, I mean, Imavov seems like a popular bet, and I get it. He seems like he is being built up as this, future champ, and I get it. He's got all the skills, and I think he could, beat a lot of guys at the top. Just the issue is like the 5-round cardio for him being championship level. Obviously, not a concern here, but Alan does, push a decent pace. Imavov, if from kind of what I got is that he does slow down a little bit from the grappling, and he can be held against the cage for long periods of time, like we saw in the Cannonier fight. So Shabazian landed a takedown on him. He's been taken down a few times. Cannonier got him to the mat actually with like a body lock along the cage, and Jared's not a guy who typically gets any takedowns offensively wrestling. So if I see like big red flags like that, and he hasn't faced a guy with the level of jiu-jitsu and just overall grappling ability that Allen has, I'm gonna take the shot at. I got plus 195, and I felt like that was a great line. I didn't really have to think too much about it after taping. I know Allen's hittable. He doesn't move his head. The jab's gonna be free for Imavov. But I mean, Allen's an okay striker. He actually has decent pop. Like people don't think he has like any hands, but his straight right down the pipe is nice. Like he's got a good right hand, and he's hurt. He cracked Curtis with it a couple times. He put Bruno Silva out bad with it. He's got a well-rounded game. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter than Imavov, but Imavov definitely has the higher ceiling. He's more athletic. He's faster. He's a little bit bigger, more physical looking. And so, yeah, I get why Imavov is lined a favorite, but I do have it's hard for me not to want to bet a guy like Allen, who in theory does have grappling upside. I mean, I get that Imavov has shown solid grappling defense, but he hasn't faced a guy like Allen. So I'm okay with the bet. If it loses, I don't really care. Because I feel like I'm getting two like really high level guys in the prime of their career, and I feel like this is a competitive fight. From a market perspective, I think that Imavov is like minus 175 to Dolidze, and to me, to line him now like minus 2x to a guy like Allen is kind of disrespectful to Brendan Allen. So yeah, I'm in. I think it should be lined kind of like I think it should be lined kind of similarly to that fight, or if anything, a little bit shorter. I don't think Imavov showed anything spectacularly in the Cannonier fight to make you believe that he was covering that price tag. Even if anything, I actually got him as an underdog after round one. He was plus 200 after round one because of how that fight was going and the cardio dynamics. But it just so happens that Jared Cannonier is 40 years old. And then what happens is when you turn 40, well, guess what? The more you fight for 25 minutes, the worse you look. So Imavov's cardio looked quote unquote better there, but I think it's more so just regression from Cannonier. We kind of saw it in the Barajo fight too. It's like as the fight extends, he gets hit with punches and he reacts oddly. I'm sure you noticed that too. Like, Barajo hitting him with jabs and like straight lefts down the pipe, and Cannonier getting hit with clean shots and just kind of like freezing up and getting rocked. Not even the shot that like put him out at round 5, but it's like he's getting frozen. His chin's always been a little suspect. So I just think this is like a really good sell high spot. We're selling high on Imavov here at the peak of the market, and I'm hoping to capitalize. If not, I'm okay with the bet though.
Yeah, I feel you. I'll see what happens. I'm like not dying to play plus
Allen's
180.
entries. The one thing about Allen that people forget, his wrestling entries are really, really good. Like he shoots some really nice takedowns out, like in general, that I'm like watching him fight and I'm thinking, okay, he can get Imavov down, That's just if he chooses to go to it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I definitely think he could get the takedowns. I'm gonna look at it more. I kind of want something better than plus 180 if I do it.
Yeah, plus 200 for me was, or around that price was like kind of like a must click type of thing.
Yeah, I don't hate Allen sub. I'm seeing like plus 600.
Yeah, Allen sub's good. I think Allen late props could be interesting too. if he
That
is
back
pushing
kick
the
against
grappling.
Curtis was so nice in the first round.
What was it?
He like kind of just dragged him down and took his back immediately.
Oh yeah, like instant, yeah. The entry he had in round 2 or 3 was really nice. He shot like a low double and turned the corner, and I was just like, that gets. I remember thinking in my head, that gets Imavov down.
Yeah.
First thing that popped in my head, I'm like, that gets Imavov down, and that was kind of like, the wheels started spinning, and then I'm like, okay, well, it's hard for me to pass up this line.
Told myself I'd keep a small slate this week, but I already have 4 money lines, and now I might have 5.
I have a pretty big slate. I think it's a good card for betting. We're on the opposite sides of Frevola and Ziam, or the Frevola and Ziam and Oki and Duncan.
Yeah, MMA Hokage would like to hear your Oki Duncan breakdown if you want to do it now before we do the main event.
Breakdown BSC with dog. I just think Oki has the higher ceiling, and I think I think Duncan kind of just has slim margins in the fight, to be honest. Like, I don't think he's gonna knock out Oki. Like, I think this is kind of like a levels fight when it comes to striking. I think Oki has much better vision than Duncan when it comes to striking. The couple things that I picked up is, Oki just sees strikes incredibly well. He sees calf kicks incredibly well. He sees counters incredibly well. And when he does choose to open up, I mean, he's really defensively responsible. Like, even in the Salvador fight, when he hurts Salvador, it's not like one of those, he goes on a flurry, right, and like kills Salvador, but it's not like he's just throwing random BS. He's picking his shots. He's, going up top, going to the body. And all it's going to take, in my opinion, is him to hurt Duncan one time. And this fight's over, because I've seen his ability to pick the right spots and times to finish. And Duncan's been hurt enough for me to think that he does knock him out. And if not, I mean, with the amount of damage that Duncan does in the with the wrestling, I think that the Slava Claus fight is pretty bearish for his control. I know he's definitely improved his grappling, but Oumar Morales is a solid fighter, in my opinion. But at the time, he was 37 years old, and has had cardio concerns in the past, things that I don't think Oki has. So I think he's going to put up enough resistance in the grappling, with his heavy sprawls and his athleticism, that it's going to make it challenging for Duncan over 15 to put together a solid performance here without the fear of him getting knocked out, or at least hurt in one of the rounds to swing it entirely. So I think Oki should be. I'm surprised at the Duncan love personally, but I also view the fight, from a different perspective, where I can't really see Duncan having much upside, because I just don't think his control is good enough to hold Oki down. And I think his cardio is going to make the difference here, especially in round 2 and round 3, if the striking really is not going Duncan's way. I mean, I think a couple of heavy sprawls from Oki will deter Duncan.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it. It's a numbers play for me. I think Oki makes sense as a favorite, but kind of steep in my opinion.
Yeah,
What did you play him at?
We have different opinions of Oki. You know what I mean? I used to think he was super overrated going into the Kawamba fight, and I kind of like put the fight out of my head and went into tape this, and I'm like, this guy could be like really, really, really good. He could be just with the hardware and the athleticism and the power and the vision on the feet. I mean, if he just sprawls takedowns and strikes with guys, I mean, I think he's like a prospect, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree there.
I think he has, like, I wouldn't say like superstar potential, but I mean, he's got the look, you know what I mean? He's like a, a handsome, Belgian guy who, they don't have many of them, kickboxer with knockout power, in a new market. I think he's a guy that they'd love to promote. And they're bringing in Duncan like they brought in Duncan to fight Manuel Torres. They're bringing in Duncan like they brought Duncan into the Contender Series to lose to Charlie Campbell. It just seems like a setup spot.
Yeah, I get it. But all right, let's move on. Main event time. We got Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. Moicano, 19, 5-1, 35 years old. He's 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. Saint-Denis, 13, 2-0, 28. So he's going to be 7 years younger, going to be the same height. He's at a 1-inch reach advantage. I'll start us off. I mean, I've been trying to fade Saint-Denis for a while at chalk odds, at least, not when he's an underdog. I played him. Actually, no, I think I chickened out. I picked him to beat Bonfim and then didn't play him, I'm pretty sure, which sucks because he was plus 300. And since then, it hasn't worked out for me. I played Frevola against him. That didn't go very well. And then his last fight with Poirier, I bet Poirier live. That felt good. I played him like plus 300, I think, after the first. And that went the way I kind of expected it to. Look, I get a lot of people saying it was the staff and that's why he got tired, but we're acting like he hasn't gotten tired before. Like, cardio concerns have been a thing with Benoit Saint-Denis. I think they still are a concern. I think he can gas out. I think he's very front-loaded. I do think he's powerful. I don't think his striking is that good. He's kind of just wild. I think his wrestling is pretty good and the jiu-jitsu is very good. But look, if somebody can keep it standing against him and survive early, I don't think he covers these prices. Now with Moicano, definitely some chin concerns. Cashed him against Turner, but honestly, I kind of have to thank Turner there because what was that? I thought it, like, once he dropped him, I thought my ticket was in the garbage. And then once it didn't get called, I was like, yo, watch. And then he pulls it off. That felt great. But yeah, if he survives here, if he doesn't get finished early by BSD, how does BSD really cover? Because in the striking, I think Moicano is better. I think he's a cleaner striker than BSD. I don't think he hits as hard, but I think he's cleaner. I think he's got better output, trust his cardio more. Also an elite offensive grappler, also super high-level jiu-jitsu, probably higher level than BSD. And I trust his cardio more. So I'm more than likely going to get to a bet on him. I don't think it's going to be a big one. I'm probably going to do like a half unit. And I'm just going to wait till like right before the fights because I expect a lot of parlay love for BSD because that's just kind of what happens these days. If they parlayed him against Poirier, I think they're going to parlay him against Moicano. And money's been coming in. Moicano's plus 235. I'd play it now. I just think I'll get a better price. So I'm going to wait just a half unit because he might die. But if he doesn't, I think it becomes a very competitive fight. And I think he's live. What do you think?
Yeah, I haven't really looked into the fight, to be honest. You know me, I don't really bet main events. So, didn't look into the fight. For anybody that knows me personally, I don't really bet main events. I love watching MMA. And some of the main events in the UFC are the most compelling fights. And if I can watch the card and enjoy it and enjoy the main event in the end of the evening, that's what I want to do. So I tend to stay away from betting these fights. I just want to watch them and enjoy the main event of the evening. So,
any leans?
No, I mean, I didn't.
Gun to your head, you got to bet something. What do you do?
The under 2.5.
What does that
well,
say?
I think Moicano could finish him.
Minus 172. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think Moicano could finish him. I mean, he's not like the most. He's kind of sneaky dangerous, you know, especially if he takes if BSD gets tired and somehow they get into a grappling exchange and Moicano gets on his back. I mean, he's kind of screwed.
Why is this guy called? Why is? Oh, it's Big Bird. What's this one?
Do I look like Mads Burnell with the beard now a little bit?
No, that's why I don't really get it.
I have to look at a Mads Burnell photo. Do I look like Mads Burnell? Did you look it up?
No, but I'm about to. Pierce kills me, man. Pierce.
You got to put it on the screen to see if this is
exact. Huh.
Oh wait, you're seeing it now.
Yeah, kind of. Wait, hold on.
Let me put it on the screen. Put it on the screen.
Yeah, let me figure out how first. It has to be one. It has to be his bald picture. Where is he? I just saw.
Oh,
it.
I forgot. Mads does have a bald. Mads went through a bald phase.
Here, this will work. Let me. So, really playing around a lot this episode.
You know what? You know what? He's not wrong. You know what? He's not wrong. He's really not wrong.
Pierce killing it with the jokes lately.
He's been roasting me all left and right. He changed his what did he change? He changed his Discord name to Dogfather's Hair Follicles.
I'm weak. Didn't even know he had a Discord. I never got an invite. That's crazy.
No, it was in another Discord that you're not in. He doesn't have one. They wouldn't allow that.
Yeah,
I don't think he has the money to pay for the premium subscription. So
there's a premium subscription for Discord?
Yeah, that's how you create channels, I think. You have to pay like $10 a month. I'm sure you pay it.
I didn't pay a cent. No shot.
Oh, really?
No. But do you prefer the under 2? I think he means 2.5 minus 195 or over 1.5 minus 150. For me, under 2 or 2.5, whichever one you meant. I wouldn't play over.
I'm not playing an over 1.5. Hell no.
Not in a BSD fight.
No.
He actually does have a Discord these days. It's $400 a month to join.
Yeah. All the exclusive plays.
Oh, yeah. The ones that we just gave out for free on here.
Yeah, but a couple of them, the line's already gone.
True.
Well, wait. Let me think. No, I'm sure the GTD and the Gomis fight's available.
It is, and Oki's minus 178 right now.
That's great. I mean, that's a great. I love that bet, honestly. I'm actually shocked. Like, I get the line movement because, the typical, but he can grapple though.
For me, it's more of a step up. It's just a step up, and I think if he doesn't crack the chin, I think it's competitive. And I didn't like his output in the Kuamba fight. The jab was great, but like the output wasn't that good in general.
Yeah. The output wasn't great, but I think he won like very cleanly.
Yeah, but Kuamba's also green as grass.
That's true, but he's a better striker than Duncan, technically wise.
Yeah, but again, just green.
Yeah.
But all right, that's it, guys. That is UFC Paris. That's 14 fights. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Dog, for pulling up out of nowhere. That was funny. In terms of content going on this week, we're on Wednesday. Shorts will come out tomorrow. And then we have PFL. There's no shot I'll have time to do a video. If I put up any bets for it, it'll be on the Discord. We have Aries tomorrow. Only thing I even thought about is Sola. Not Sola. The guy he's fighting, Gagloev. I'm not crazy about it. Do you have a read on that fight?
Pierce destroyed the line.
Is he's on Gagloev?
Yeah.
I'm like not crazy about it. Yeah, I understand betting him there, but it's kind of a mess spot for me. We'll see.
I have a lot of questions, so I need like at least plus 150.
Yeah, I don't know if he can even go long in a fight.
Well, yeah, of course. I think there is some tape on a decision fight where he looked pretty good. And I don't think Sola's like the greatest pace pusher of all time, but he is good.
Yeah, Sola's good. I faded him once with Unisov, and that was it.
Yeah, it was a good time to fade him last fight too, and then of course he squeaked out a draw somehow.
Classic. But all right, yeah. So that's that, Aries. We'll see if I put up a play. It'll be on my Discord. Links in the description. Free notes, breakdowns. That's all there. Dog is no longer there, unfortunately, but maybe he will be one day. And yeah, and that's it. Oh, and this weekend we got Warrior Cage Grappling 14. I'll be doing commentary. I'll send out a link. That should be a good time. If you're on the East Coast near Jersey, still looking for some competitors, you can slide in my DMs. Let's talk. And yeah, and that's it. Dog, you have anything to promote? Dog is putting a whisper sign, shaking his head. Not sure what he's doing there.
No.
Make sure the audio works. We actually had a much better setup last time, Pierce. I was very hearable. But all right, guys. What is he doing? What is he?
Mewing.
Oh my God. You're doing what's that kid who's famous right now?
Oh, the Rizzler.
Oh, you're the Rizzler. That's what's happening. Okay. But all right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace out and good luck.